Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar with Boomy. My name is Emily. I'm the Senior Campaign Lead here at Birchal. And just before I introduce Dushan and Vanita today, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land which I am beaming to you from today. The Birchal is based on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So today I'm joined by Dushan and Vanita from Boomie. Birchal is working with Boomie on their upcoming crowdsourced funding offer. A few of you might be unfamiliar with crowdsourced funding, or you might know it as equity crowdfunding, but it's a relatively new form of fundraising here in Australia that allows startups and small businesses to raise capital from a large number of smaller or retail investors, as well as wholesale or sophisticated investors through an online platform such as Birchal. So instead of seeking funding from traditional sources such as banks or venture capitalists, companies can turn to the general public, and quite often it's their communities to raise money in exchange for equity in their business. Birchal Financial Services will be the licensed intermediary for the offer. And I'd just like to remind everybody who is watching that this discussion in the webinar today is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as advice or a recommendation to invest. So please do your own research and always consider the offer document and general CSF risk warning before investing. If you do need any further information, you can head to birchal.com, and we also have a support network there, so you can reach out to us if you've got any questions. Now, before we get going, today's session will have a beautiful presentation from Boomie, and this will go for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. And it will cover where they've come from, what they're looking to do with their capital raise, and a few more other tidbits. And then we'll switch to a Q&A session. So if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll be able to see a Q&A box. So please pop any questions you have into that box as we go along, and we'll answer them at the Q&A time at the end. We're also recording today's session, so if you do have to jump off early or you'd like to watch it again, a recording will be sent around. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Dushan and Vanita.
Thank you so much for that. We wanted to just say thank you everyone who's joined today to hear more about Boomie and our company. So I think I'll just start with where we've come from and what Boomie actually means. So Boomie is actually Mother Earth in Sanskrit. We chose one of the oldest traditional languages possible that has a derivative in other languages, just to show that connection in humanity. Boom means person of the earth or earth, and Boomie is Mother Earth. So my background is actually in health. So I started off my journey in nursing. So I was a paediatric nurse here at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. And I then progressed into international public health. So before this, I was very focused on health initiatives across the world, and enjoyed traveling and seeing health sort of projects. But what I learned was a whole new world of the textile industry. So the projects where I was based was actually in India, which started the whole, I guess you could say, defragmenting what I knew about organic textiles and the textile industry. I never actually stopped to question it. But with what I saw, it actually changed my whole way of thinking and my life. So it actually showed me the insight into the truth behind the textile industry that we don't necessarily see in mainstream media. So here I was as a nurse and a public health professional, learning about things that we don't see or hadn't heard about or hadn't talked about. And it was all about this major factor in everyone's lives, the textile industry, everything that we wear, everything that we sleep in, everything that touches our skin. And it was here that I learned and saw firsthand not only the disastrous environmental impacts, but also the health impacts on the farmers, the workers, and then down to us as consumers. So in the textile industry, unfortunately, there are a lot of chemicals that are used, pesticides, toxic dyes, that nobody talks about. I didn't know it back then. So everything that I was learning, I wanted to come back and share with people what I'd learnt, that unearth almost the what was going on in the textile industry and make a change, which brings us to where we are today, that we want to create a big ripple effect in the textile industry by choosing certified organic cotton and organic linen that uses zero toxic pesticides and toxic dyes. We are so I can't believe at the number of companies that talk about, oh, we use fewer pesticides or we use less pesticides, when we can actually use zero pesticides. I mean, the textile industry is one of the largest contributors to CO2 emissions in the world. And if we can have a direct impact on that and change that, that's where we want to be. So looking at how we can shake things up and do things differently without toxic chemicals that hurt the earth, without toxic chemicals that hurt the actual workers or the farmers, and without toxic chemicals that can hurt us as consumers. So we started off with very humble beginnings. 2018, we formally registered, and it was more of a dialogue, which is what I love. I love talking to people about, always question what's going on with what you're using in your life, because that's where I started. I had to question and rethink everything that I was seeing. So we started with just as a side hustle. I was still doing nursing, and on the side I'd be going to markets on the weekends with my little girl, just talking to people about organic cotton and what do people know about it, and the difference between cotton, conventional cotton, and organic cotton. So the momentum started back then, and then it just grew in terms of product base. So I had lots of people asking me. Initially, I just started with sheets and towels, but the questions kept coming that, oh, what about something that's so close to your skin like underwear? And I was thinking, of course, we should absolutely bring anything that touches your skin to the table. So Boomie then, for both of us, we see Boomie as being able to provide certified organic products that touch your skin, because your body is your sanctuary and it's your home. The earth is our sanctuary and our home. So we want to be able to provide bedding, towels, sleepwear, apparel, basics that don't compromise the planet or ourselves. So we have a great vision for Boomie to be a global brand, and we're seeing this fantastic rise in conscious consumerism, especially post-COVID. People are really questioning what they're wearing, what they're using, what touches their skin, and the impact. So the impact is really something that's driving us as a business and driving consumers to us. So we see that if we can, with our vision as a global brand, be able to provide customers with high quality textiles in their home and set a precedence for that in the textile industry and shake things up, as well as creating a positive impact on the planet, because the earth really does need it.
Yeah, thanks, Vinita. So I'm Dushyant. Obviously, we are a husband-wife team. My background is financial services, so I'll cover this section. Before moving to Melbourne, I did spend a lot of time in US, primarily in New York, in management consulting and investment and asset management. Then moved to ANZ here in the institutional side of things. Was managing the portfolio side for ANZ. Had a team of 35 people when I left. And yeah, like Vinita said, this was a side hustle. So just born out of passion. I was just supporting her really. And yeah, one thing led to the other and things just kept on growing. And here we are in 2024. So just to give you a quick recap of like last 12 months, when the industry has kind of in retail in Australia has suffered a little bit. I think the growth rate was generally around like 9-10%. We've grown over 25 to 30%, which is a good reflection of not only the demand for the products in this space, but also a lot about our execution in the last 12 to 18 months have fallen in place. Over the lifetime, we've experimented with offline, online, and then here we are in our new Collingwood store actually. And we think the blend of online plus offline is the way to go. And yeah, just this weekend it was our first weekend in our Collingwood store, and it was just so much insane activity, in-person activity, bigger purchases, just so exciting, and which then eventually complements the online space. So over the course of our journey, we have accumulated over 100,000 customers, and one thing we are really proud of is the repeat rate for customers is over 50%. And I think we can push that higher. I think we've ran out of stock so many times that sometimes people have no choice but to wait or purchase elsewhere. But one of the things that we are trying to address through this fundraise is to fix that issue. But we're proud of that stat, and I think it will only keep going. In terms of investment, why now? I mean, this is a good question. I'm sure you guys have this on your mind. It's been something that's been on our mind for a while. We've actually never taken any external investment through giving up equity. So everything has been self-funded out of our own pockets initially, and then the traditional loans that Emily mentioned in the past, like business loans and all that. And I think that's good. It's carried us to this point, and we feel extremely confident now. But those sort of mechanisms do have their limitations. So why now? And the simple answer is we know what we are doing now. And when we are accepting people's money, external funds, we want to be 100% sure as to what we are going to do with it, how we are going to do with it, how we are going to execute our plans. And also along with that, I think Vinita touched upon it, the demand from the existing clientele and the future generation is just incredible. And that's not just in Australia, it's actually more so in Europe and US, which are the markets we want to tap. That's one of the biggest reasons why we are doing this equity raise. And one of the other reasons is we have extremely strong supply chain relationships. This is a niche supply chain, certified. So there's no funny stuff going on. We also make it a point to go every year, once, if not twice, to personally see how things are and what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah, so we just think this is a great time for all of these key aspects to come together. I think we've talked about the problem. I think one of the things I just want to quickly mention is the problem of greenwashing. There's too much greenwashing going on. One way we differentiate ourselves is by providing extreme transparency. Like here we are in Collingwood, so I wish I could turn the screen, but we have people here come in and just purchase, they ask questions. We man the stores in Byron Bay here, and we're planning to open new. So we hold ourselves accountable. There is no middleman. There is a customer in front, or an investor or whoever, but we don't like to put any barriers in between. So that's one of the way we differentiate ourselves. And right through the supply chain, anyone can come to us and ask how things are made, where it's made, and we are more than happy to share that information. And customers appreciate that, and that's important moving forward. In terms of just a quick overview of the market, because one of the reasons why we want to do this raise is to expand globally. And obviously you don't want to chase the world with limited funds. We have identified the logical countries that we already get orders from and interest from, and that's UK and US. Australia is a very, very strong market. This means on the back of this equity raise, we will continue to strengthen Australia. There is so much room for growth here, which we are going to focus on. But at the same time, we are going to expand into the US and UK. Both of the legal entities have already been formed. So in fact, one of our key employees, ex-Google person, very, very clever, very smart, has already relocated to UK in London, and we sponsored his visa, and he's there and on the ground already making the moves. And US is something that we are looking at extremely closely. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Yeah, look, I mean, we are at end of the day, we are selling essentials. It's bedding, it's premium bedding, it's extremely high quality bedding, but at an affordable price. Bath, towels, apparel, it's an exciting category. Knitwear, underwear, sleepwear, these are essentials. Obviously, the bedding lasts for 1 to 3 years, generally speaking, but then the essentials are a constant thing. So I don't want to bombard you with like these big numbers, but essentially the point is that it's an extremely big market. Essentials every day we can grow as much as we push. We've done our analysis of our UK and US competitors. Yes, we believe we have a space there. I think one of the things where we can truly differentiate ourselves is that transparency, and obviously the quality of our product is absolutely there. If we didn't have the quality, then we wouldn't have had 13,000 or 14,000 reviews. You can come up with 50 or 100 reviews in today's world through some tactical mechanisms, but it's not possible to have 14,000 reviews unless your product speaks for itself. So we're confident about that. But in terms of differentiating ourselves, there are a few tactical things that we have learned as well on the back of online, offline, how to mix it up, how to keep the advertisement costs low and still be able to reach a wider market. And at the end of the day, transparency is what people are after. So that's something also we have some tactical things that we have learned that we will showcase when we penetrate these markets. We skimmed over this. I think we talked about the mission as well. I just want to quickly, in the time we have, just give you a quick glimpse of the customer highlights so far. So as mentioned, over 100,000 customers acquired online and offline. We believe it's actually funny we say this, but we actually mean it. But we don't think we have even started. This we believe is that early adopter sort of market, the 1 to 2%. I think there is a 20 to 30% population in Australia and in US and UK where they can be swayed to purchase, make sustainable purchases, given the right price point and we are in the right location in the customer. So yeah, that number is, we are proud of that number, but there's so much room there. The growth since 2018, before that, as Vinita mentioned, we were just fiddling around in markets and and it was good. But 2018 is when we registered the company, and since then it's been 8 times the growth. I just want to highlight there that it's all been self-funded, initially bootstrapped, so no equity investors so far, which can sometimes lead to bigger growth numbers. And we have consistently been profitable, a modest profit, but consistent profit. The customer repeat rate is more than 50%. When we go on promotions and offers, at times in the first 12 hours is usually like 75-80%. And it's very exciting to watch. In 15 minutes, we would have sold $100,000, and the customers are all the ones that would have purchased. They are confident in what they
very humbling, actually.
Yeah, very humbling, very exciting. The one metric in the e-commerce world is obviously the customer lifetime value or the average order value. I think our business revolves a lot around those bedding items, which we're going to change the mix moving forward, but naturally that means higher order values, usually in the upward of 200, which is good. 15 million in sales since we started. The average order value, like I mentioned, is 200. We will be using some sophisticated techniques to increase that to maintain the profitability. So that's good. Number of reviews, we touched upon it. Yeah, that will keep growing. Customer acquisition cost. So that's an interesting one. It's $57. I mean, I know the e-commerce folks live and breathe these numbers, but essentially what we have seen is in the last 12 to 18 months, the acquisition cost through traditional channels like Facebook and Google have gone up. And it's not sustainable, to be honest, to scale a business, which is why you see big brand names doing 100, 200 million revenue, but $40, $50 million losses. And that's primarily because the customer acquisition cost is extremely high. It's not sustainable, which is where we want to also differentiate ourselves through our tactical. Hello.
We're so excited. You're aren't you?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're the people behind the
Yes,
Instagram
well,
posts. So-
Yes, she's the one.
Oh,
So,
you are.
sorry.
I want to see.
But yeah, the acquisition costs are quite high, and we anticipate to manage that through the mix of online and offline. So that's where our tactical sort of approach will come into play when we actually go overseas, especially where we are not recognized as a brand. But yeah, I think just a quick glimpse of the team, and then I'll wrap it up for from our side, and then open it up to questions. So yeah, Vinita looks after the brand, storytelling, marketing. This is how she gets all the hugs and kisses from the customers. I look after the strategy, finance, marketing. Farley, yeah, is head of operations, customer experience, head of growth. Sam, who I just referred to, is in UK right now. Georgia. These are people who have done amazing work with other lifestyle brands. So we are very lucky to have them. They have ran their own agencies, and now they are doing work with us. Cindy, head of marketing, she'll probably move with us to US if we go down that direction. PR and partnerships, again, we put a lot of emphasis on this through influencers. And then the rest of the team is focused on visuals. I just want to mention Christy. She's our Byron-based store manager, again, comes with a wealth of wholesale experience, which is the area we want to scale. So there are smaller teams or freelancers sitting underneath this team, but we have a very formidable team right now, and we feel extremely confident moving into the future. Cool. So that's, I guess, from our side.
Thank you so much. That was such an incredible presentation of where you've come from so far. And it's amazing to see what you've achieved so far. And we've had quite a lot of questions, which is awesome. In terms of your EBITDA, will that be released in your offer document when you go live with your offer?
Yes, yeah, it will be released, certainly.
And in terms of the minimum investment, I know across the Birchal platform, it's quite often $250 as the minimum. Will that be what you're looking for in your raise?
Yes, that's right.
Perfect. All right. So also, some people are keen to understand the plan for the use of funds from this raise and whether it will be used to strengthen the Australian market a little bit more, or whether it will go directly to expanding into the US and the UK.
Certainly, yeah. It will be a combination. Half of the funds will be used to strengthen the Australian market, which is a very profitable market. And primarily in that, we just want to ensure that we maintain sufficient levels of inventory, which is one of our biggest, I won't say issues, but limitations in terms of growth. And the rest of the funds will be distributed half to US and UK. And even there, we have very specific approaches for each country. We have been working on this for last 12 to 18 months. So this won't be the case where we take the funds and just start online ads. In UK, it's a separate sequence, and in US, it's a separate sequence on the back of some collaborations and partnerships.
Fantastic. So in the future, are you looking at potentially making fitness apparel? Is that something that's crossed your mind?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We just had a
Yeah, this
you want-
morning we just had a beautiful customer of ours say that. We've had a lot of interest. So we're currently designing that and looking to launch that next year.
Yeah.
We believe that organic cotton in the activewear, yoga wear line is huge because there's a lot of greenwashing out there in this particular category. So it's something we are very passionate about and wanting people to, when they are exercising or meditating or doing yoga, actually know that they're wearing really toxic-free chemicals, because also just medically, when your skin is warm, the pores open, and if you're putting chemicals on that, it's not healthy. So we want to combat the greenwashing. So yes, the answer is we are currently designing and looking to expand into that.
Just one quick point on that. In fact, we actually launched it in 2018, 2019. It was received actually so well. But again, going back to that inventory side of things, and which is one of the reasons why we are raising capital, the way we do our purchasing is we actually procure the fabric first at the beginning of the year, which is where a bulk of that funds go, and then we distribute that to different categories which have the most demand. And sometimes we've had to choose and drop the ones that are attractive, but to the limitation. That's exactly the problem we'll be fixing, that if you have sufficient funds, then you can actually go ahead with the plans and
address everything.
Address everything on the back of all the feedback and the good work that has already been performed in the past.
Awesome. That's super, super exciting that you're expanding into this market. I love it. So currently, what is the split between online and offline sales?
Yeah, great question. I mean, this is obviously before the Byron-based store, which we launched just last month. It was 100% online. So sorry, just a little bit background. So we started actually offline. We are actually an offline as opposed to the general e-commerce brands. They started online, then they go offline. We actually started offline. So for most part, it was 100% offline, zero online. And we had around 3 stores during that time. And we were not really active online. During COVID, we had to flip, obviously, and we had to close the stores and so on. So then from 2020 to 2024 until this March, it was 100% online. And since we opened the Byron-based store, the ratio has started to change. This last weekend, it's been like 80% offline and 20% online. And these are, interestingly, some of the biggest days of sales that we are seeing since we launched, without having to go on any crazy offer or Black Friday or Boxing Day or any of that sort. So we are already seeing that ratio change, but then we are also seeing a big spike in the online activity on the back of that. So yeah, so I think we expect that to settle at 50-50. That's where we expect it to settle.
Amazing. So currently, are you supplying business customers or just general customers when it's regarding your cotton fabrics?
Yeah, just general direct to consumer, and that's the approach. We have to actively say no to business customers because we want to serve the customers. But again, that's the part of this the fundraise, where if we carry sufficient inventory stock, then we can start supporting the business customers, which typically require larger scale, larger volumes.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's a good thing actually to go into this question. So the significant risks in your business is, and you know, the issues that you're facing is you don't have enough stock to service the demand. Can you give us a bit of an idea of how you're looking to mitigate these issues and risks?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think we do need to go and analyze our purchasing behavior and the inventory analysis and forecasting side of things. So that's something that we, you know, when you start, you just start and you just see what works, and you don't have much leeway with the manufacturers and all that. Like, you have to go and do minimum orders and just do it. I think fortunately now we are well past the minimum orders of what our factories require. And therefore it actually means we need to be a little bit more diligent. So we are going to use, we are actually already started to utilize some sophisticated tools. So that's one bit. And the other bit is really around smaller runs as well, which is quite important for us as a sustainable, ethical brand, that we don't just go doing mass stuff. Initially, we didn't have that much leeway, but now that we have a little bit of say in our production schedule, we will be looking at smaller runs, and that's what our customers are okay with as well. They're willing to wait and willing to be patient. But yeah, that's one of the ways we're going to definitely mitigate that moving forward.
Awesome, thank you so much. So in terms of a price point for Boomie, where do you sit amongst competitors?
I think we for the Australian consumers, if you're familiar with the pricing of Country Road or like a Sheridan, that's where we sit. I think because we are small, lean and mean, we don't have that many overheads compared to the bigger guys. Obviously, then we don't have that brand presence and retail presence, but we want to make it more and more affordable. So we definitely want to, our story is going to be, hey, if you are already purchasing from the mainstream labels like Adair's and Sheridan and Country Road, look, you have a much better option here where it's even more premium in terms of the quality, and hopefully we can actually make it even more affordable. So price is not a barrier then in making the right choice. That's the absolute aim.
Yeah, 100%. So when you do launch your offer on the Birchal platform, how many years worth of financial data will be within the offer document?
We will have, per the recommendation, we'll have last year's financials, and compared to this year's end of March, which was the latest quarter that ended. And yes, of course, if someone is interested in finding out more, they can obviously reach out to us separately, and we'll be more than happy to share. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. So are you interested in going down a franchise route in the future?
Not really. I know it's very attractive, and we have been approached for those paths. We have mixed views about that, but after having mixed views, we have a very strong view where we have landed. We do want to control the customer experience
And the story.
and the story. We would rather open our own stores and channels. And the perfect example is this Collingwood store. We acquired a lease in April. We set this up in 2 weeks, late nights. This store, I don't want to get too much into details, but this is like, obviously, like any other lease, you have 3 to 6 months rent free. We are already profitable from day one, and not just profitable, we are profitable by a long way from day one. And this is incredible. So one of the key reasons for this is because customers trust us, and they know us, and we're standing here, and of course it's not feasible to stand in every store, but we can control the brand experience. The purchases are higher, and that's why the profitability of this store is extreme, which we are very happy about. So one more reason not to go down the franchisee model, which is sometimes, the contractual obligations and so on. Yes, the numbers can look big, may not be profitable. This is profitable day one. We'd rather replicate this model in different cities of Australia and elsewhere.
Someone's actually just asked a question about that. Are you planning any more locations in the Sydney area?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our top, I mean, in Australia, it's not that surprising, but most of our customers come from Sydney. Actually, even though we have in Melbourne brand, top customer base is actually from New South Wales and Sydney. So we're looking at Sydney is a tricky city to navigate in terms of identifying a location, but absolutely stay tuned. Brisbane
Yes.
is the third most after Melbourne. And then, yeah, Western Australia, Perth, we have lots of customers there, and
And Tasmania.
And Tasmania, it's cold and you know, green, and yeah, so definitely that's the strategy. And I'm not sure if this question is asked or not, but I'll highlight it anyways. We're also looking into the London and New York stores. So because we do think the sequence of going online is, I think you're better off, what we have learned is having a brand presence, physical, local, on the ground, and build your online and wholesale journey around it,
Yes.
as opposed to commit to tens of thousands of dollars online and realize, oh, people love our website, but they don't trust us yet because we don't have any brand presence. So where can we find them? But we can't. So which is why we're, going to different things, just change the sequence a bit.
Yeah.
Amazing. So as part of your marketing strategy, do you have an influencer program?
Absolutely. Humming. We're hosting a whole influencer event in Byron Bay on 28th June. Expect 50, 60 influencers, in there. I think, yeah, around 4. Yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, we've been working with almost 300 to 400 influencers in the past. Yeah, and we'll continue to scale that. It's extremely important. It's extremely exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Currently, where do you source your inventory from?
All our cotton is organically grown in India, and everything is basically purchased from the co-ops in India, which are certified COTS, Global Organic Textile Standards, and all our products are also made in certified fair trade factories. So we have two key rules or criteria which we don't go outside of. It has to be certified and certified by Global Organic Textile Standard, and it has to be made in fair trade factories.
And that's just fed also by heart and passion. I think with what I've seen firsthand, with what Dishant's seen in his travels firsthand as well, they're two pillars that will never change for Boomie, to be really strict about our certifications for both the environment, so GOTS, as well as the humanity with fair trade.
Yeah. The only exception to what I said earlier is linen, the flax linen. So that is organically grown in Belgium and south of France, but that is still imported into India, and then that is then imported here.
It's good to know. So these factories in India, whereabouts are they? Who certifies them for their organic nature? And do you emphasize an importance on employing women in your factories over there?
Yeah, she'll answer the women part. She's very passionate about that aspect. But yeah, so earlier we started with just one factory. And then over the years, we realized we do need to diversify the risk, but at the same time, the sophistication in the products, like for example, knitwear or certain bedding or clothing, towels, you need to diversify. So we now work with 3 main manufacturing partners, who in turn have around 6 to 7 units spread across India. One is in Gujarat, one is in Noida, West Bengal, Calcutta, in the south, Tamil Nadu, in Madurai. Yeah, each one have their own specialty. Now, in terms of the certification, yeah, it's a pretty intense process. So every year there is an audit performed. I'm just referring to the Global Organic Textile Standard, which is actually key for manufacturers, so that everything done is per the organic textile standards. And there is an independent certifier and an independent audit body that regulates, manages this. It's annual. The checks are done quarterly. And it's a certification process. It's anyone can look it up. It's called GOTS, GOTS, Global Organic Textile Standards. Is a public database. If you want to go into the details, it's governed by the European entities, so it's independent, strict. And similar to that is fair trade. So fair trade obviously has much broader recognition outside the organics and textile world, but yeah, that is also regulated. It's all fair trade certified and then audited by fair trade. So those are the two angles from a certification standpoint. You want to cover the
Yeah, and just on that, so there are many certifications out there in the world, which is the whole thing that we're also seeing with the rise of greenwashing, which is why we go with the, you could almost call it the platinum standard for textiles. It is the Global Organic Textile Standard. It's nothing that we'll move away from. It's GOTS. So for us, that's very important. And we love the fact that over the years, it's taken years to develop relationships and meet with people on the ground. And we're very lucky with the partners that we work with. They're very passionate about ethical work standards, in particular for women, not only employing women on the ground in terms of farmers, the people in the manufacturing departments, but also children going to school. So give the big emphasis that we love to see with also the fair trade premiums is that boys and girls go to school and attend school. So these are the big push for and the factors that we love about the companies that we work with. And it's very important for us as a business as well that for there to be impact in the world, these strict measures need to be in place. And that's what we are here to be, the change makers, and shout really loudly about these factors that change will happen if we adhere to these things. So we're very passionate about that. And we love the fact that we have a beautiful team of women that we work with, and that we know that, you know, girls are also getting an education at school, which is very important.
Just one more additionally, I feel quite excited about this. One of our main manufacturing partners recently launched a new unit to support their growth, which is somewhere in one of the remote villages in southern India. And it was exciting to see that each and every employee there is women. They have this whole philosophy that the women drive the wellness of the village. And they have some very, very strict measures that the pay is always given into the account of the women. And so it's just exciting to see that our manufacturing partners are upholding the values, and even more excited, and yeah, doing a lot more. And just by us giving more orders, they're going to just grow and do a lot more in many other villages, which is quite exciting to see. Not just talk about it, but to see it come to life.
Yeah.
So.
Brilliant, thank you. So how would you say that your organic products are different to other companies with their organic products?
Yeah, ours are far better, and I can tell you way better. I think the biggest thing is the choice. So leaving all the certification and all that aside, when we actually make the purchasing of our fabric, we go for the long staple threads. We go for the finest, and when I say long staple cotton, it basically means it's going to be extremely more durable. It's going to be more soft over the duration of that product. And it's like I guess it's like choosing grapes when making wine, right? There is the the nice batch, and then there is the medium batch, and then there is the batch that is not so great, which then produces different types of grades of wine. Same with the cotton. We go for the highest grade, the long staple, for which we pay a premium. That premium is generally 20 to 25% compared to any other grade. And I think when you pay that premium and then you make products, which is why then you end up with like a queen sheet set, which is around like $300. Whereas when someone else in the market is selling, say, organic cotton sheet set for $50, there's lots of corners that have been cut. Probably there is no certification, authenticity in that certification to begin with. But even putting that aside, the actual quality of the cotton will be completely different. So,
and another thing to add is India is quite steeped in the history of skilled craftsmanship when it comes to textiles. So we're leaning on almost that ancient wisdom that has been going on for centuries, this textile craftsmanship that's known in India. And I think everybody loves that, especially when we've had dialogues in the store recently. It's a thing to talk about, that India is steeped into textiles. So that's another big differentiator for us.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So there will be people who have seen another company that is on the Birchal platform that also does apparel, but there are quite a few key differentiators. Can you explain what the difference between the two companies are?
I think if I understand the company that you're referring to, I think one great thing is it's actually exciting to see another company in this space, because this is a movement. This is such a huge space, and I think like what they are tackling is extremely important. And from the story that I've seen, it's all about like uniforms. Our daughter, she has skin conditions every now and like, and then
she used to have eczema.
Yeah.
Pre-organic cotton days. So,
so we kind of tackle everything with our products, but then when she has to wear the school uniform, she doesn't have options. So I'm very happy the company who's launching on Birchal is tackling a real problem. I think one of the things that differentiates them is their technology. Looks like they're more into the t-shirt apparel side of things, and it's all about custom sizing, which is great. I think that there's a obviously market for it. For us, it is more about essentials and home, and it's more really about different fabrics which are relevant for different sleep types or body types. So for hot sleepers, warm sleepers, cold sleepers, a lot of our products are designed for everything that touches the skin. So for example, underwear, extremely important. Then towels, again, it's one of the most underrated products. It's one of the most profitable. It's one of the most higher volume products. So none of these products are actually made by not only that company, but there's actually a huge gap in the market in this space. And then, of course, we mentioned like yoga wear, activewear. That's like the one that we will enter. But knitwear, like high quality knits that are non-synthetic. So that's at a very high level, we are like sustainable brands. But I think at the just one level below, we are completely different with completely different business models.
Yeah, and just to add on that, that concept of home, we really believe that when you not only cross your threshold to come home, it's an environment that you can control. You can control what toxins you're exposed to or your family is exposed to in every area of your house. So if it's the bathroom, it's what textiles have you got in there that can be of no detrimental impact to you or your family members, in the bedroom, loungewear, sleepwear, but also home means to us the physical home, actually our home, the earth. Then the second one is your home that you live in, but home as in your body. So all three are very sacred, and that's where we come into it, that any aspect that home, whatever home means to you, if we can provide a textile that is certified organic, no toxic pesticides, no genetically modified seeds, no toxic dyes, no child labour, that's where we come into it.
Brilliant, thank you. So obviously you're raising funds to scale and build the company. For you guys, what's your dream for Boomie for the next 5 to 10 years?
I think definitely make that make it into a global brand. I think we believe there's so much demand there. So our absolute goal is to turn Boomie into a global sustainable brand. Likes of Patagonia or others like, so that memorable brand. Think of that. You know what you're going to get. But it's just not limited to Australia. It's limited. It's opened up to the US, UK, Europe, Middle East. Yeah, so that's the path we are on, and we're gonna stay focused on that.
Brilliant. So just for clarity, who sews your products after you source the cotton from India? Is it still all made there as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Terrific. Hey, I think that we've gone through all the questions, of which there were so many. Thank you everybody for being so engaged. I'll just open it up for any final questions, but of course you're always welcome to reach out to the founders via their Birchal dashboard. So if you jump onto their pitch page, there's a button that says message, and the team will be more than happy to answer any questions. If you haven't registered your interest already, you can jump on birchal.com and you can go browse the companies and you can find the link for Boomie in there, and that will ensure that I think somebody needs a little bit of clarification on the investment and how it all works. I'm absolutely happy to help you here. So if you do invest, say $1,000 into the company, you will receive shares. So you'll get a share certificate and equity in the company. So return on the investment depends. So when you make an investment under a crowdsourced funding offer, it is generally speaking a medium to long-term investment. So the companies that you will see are either publicly unlisted or privately listed companies. So there's not currently a sharing platform such as the ASX where you can publicly trade these kinds of shares at this stage. So just keep that in mind when you are investing in this. You can also ask any questions through the Birchal platform. We're super happy to help you. And in terms of as well, any investor updates, the team from Boomie will be regularly in contact with you, giving you updates on the company, where everything's going, what your investment funds have gone into. So you can always reach out to the company after the raise is completed as well. So the minimum investment, I think we answered this a little bit earlier. Some companies will do as low as $50. For this round, we're going with $250 as the minimum. If you'd like to express your interest, I can just pop actually the link in the chat so that everybody has this easily available to you. Bear with me just one moment. Okay, and this is why I always ask if anybody's got any extra questions, because now everyone's asking all the questions. Great, hopefully everybody can see that one there. And so if you are a shareholder, you do get fully paid ordinary shares in the business. So unfortunately, if you do want to invest after the offer has closed, you won't be able to invest through the same offer details that will be live during that time. However, you will be updated on when the offer goes live as soon as it does via communications from Birchal, from the Boomie team, all of that. So it is really important that you register your interest via the Boomie pitch profile page. We've also had some lovely comments through about how much everybody loves Boomie. So thank you so much. It's really, really kind of you. And from the bottom of my heart, it's been really lovely working with the team at Boomie. Sorry, Bobby, we don't have the investment link just yet. So the offer will go live in just only, you're welcome, in a few days from now, but you'll be kept up to date. So just make sure you register your interest via the link I just put in the chat, and you'll be able to be informed when the offer does go live. Okay, great. I think that's everybody. And please reach out to the Birchal team or to the Boomie team if you've got any further questions, and we'd be happy to help. Thank you so much, Dushyant and Vanita, for your time today. It was fantastic having you here.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. A few people can't see the link. I've just popped it in there as well. But thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.